I don't know about this.
Hey, we all did it. If you want to be a Supreme Court justice, you got to pick up that cherry with your butt cheeks and drop it in that beer.
A friend of mine and somebody you're probably familiar, you may know him too. In fact, Norm Ornstein, brilliant sort of scholar of Congress, who I believe his quote was, "Neil Gorsuch is a pompous arse." Well, he didn't say arse, but I don't know if I can say the other word, so I'll say that. I mean, this was, yeah, I listen, yeah, I pay attention, but I mean, if I watched the old Washington Generals, I knew they weren't going to win.
Let me get this straight. You took all the money you made franchising your name and bet it against the Harlem Globetrotters?
I thought the Generals were due.
I mean, it doesn't matter what the law is. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I understand Section 3, Article 3, or Section 3, whatever, of the 14th Amendment quite well, which is, it's pretty simple. I mean, insurrection. You're leading a coup. You're leading the charge in a battle against your country. The founders thought about this early on, later after the Civil War, when we had an actual, civil war. The fact of the matter is that we've had these Shays Rebellion, Whiskey Rebellion, all these things in our past. And if you took part in these kinds of episodes, a number of senators, 5, 6, were expelled from the Senate for refusing to accept Abraham Lincoln as president when he was elected. I mean, this is the way a country that's a democracy operates. So I know by the law, there's no way Donald Trump should be on the ballot. No. But I will say two things quickly. One is, honestly, I want him on the ballot because I want to destroy the stain of Trumpism. I feel it's necessary if we are going to get past this as a country, that he not just lose, but we destroy him. We win those 43% of Nikki Haley voters who said that they would not vote for Trump, and people like that. And so that's one. Two is, I mean, the Supreme Court's hilarious.
Come on, do it. Go Souter. Go Souter. Go Souter. Oh my God! I can't believe he did
it. I mean, would you look at these 6 people and ever believe the collection of people there? Alito, the taking free flights. Thomas, who basically lives off of billionaire. The kindness of strangers or friends, if you will. I mean, Brett Kavanaugh, who was everybody's favorite blackout drunk in college.
We're going streaking! Yes!
I mean, who of this group of esteemed scholars and otherwise bribed people would you think would actually give one damn about the law? I don't believe for a second any of them do. So it's predetermined. Well, I have no sort of doubt. I know what they're going to do.
One of the things we should not also skip past the point that the design is that the states decide who's on their ballots. That's why we don't have federal elections. We basically have 50 separate elections, and then we pick from that. And that's how it's decided. That's the Electoral College. And that's kind of a basic tenet of the elections. And they kind of want to just skip past that point. And that's not a little point to skip past. I mean, if they rule for Trump, we're kind of started down a path to the federalization of the election, which some people even on the left might be, okay, we probably need to do that. But it is a change from how we have done things, because right now the law is on Colorado and Maine's side that basically they don't want someone on the ballot. They don't have to. And you brought up Lincoln. All the southern states did not even have Lincoln on the ballot. I think maybe one had Lincoln on the ballot, but they didn't even have Lincoln on the ballot back then. So this is not exactly new. This is something that's happened before.
Well, and again, your analysis, I think, is mostly correct, but I do think you're forgetting one important thing, and you're forgetting it for a good reason. You're forgetting that beautiful, brilliant Bush v. Gore decision where they're like, no precedent. It doesn't count. It's just this time. Never use it again. I mean, what did they do with Bush v. Gore? They overturned. If Florida had kept counting those votes, as we now know, as the Florida Supreme Court ruled they should be able to, Gore would have won the election. I mean, by at least 20,000 plus votes, because those analyses were done by newspapers later on. They shut it down. They shut it down on equal right. I mean, this court, Scalia, deciding in favor of that Bush's equal rights were being violated. I mean, that was the cherry on the sundae of what a joke it was. It was so they've been making these decisions now. I mean, they're always like states' rights, except for when we say it's not. States' rights, except for when we can ban abortion nationally. States' rights, except for when we can tell you that everybody has the right to concealed carry, even though that doesn't say it in the Constitution. States' rights, except for we can ban gay marriage nationally. They're just a bunch of hypocritical liars. They're full of crap. They're full of more crap than a barn house. They're not honest people. So there's no reason to believe that anything they say. They don't believe in, there are actual conservatives who do believe that we should have some state and local rights. And there are good reasons for that at times, that people on the more local level understand certain issues better. Of course, the South abused that to say they understood the issues of whether humans should be free better. And so the federal government has stepped in also, because it's had to at times, because it had to in Little Rock, Arkansas for a high school, and it had to in Alabama, for the University of Alabama. I mean, we've had to do this. So, I mean, that isn't the tyranny here. The tyranny here is these group of 6 jokers who are in the bag already, bought off by billionaires, are going to decide in favor of Trump, because they were always going to decide in favor of Trump.
The best moment today, hands down. Now, you mentioned Justice RV in Clarence Thomas. I'll go with Justice 5-star, which is Alito. And Alito literally literally having, you've seen Ghostbusters 2, where Bill Murray on the stand has to start telling Rick Moranis' lawyer what to say.
So you were just trying to help out a friend who was frightened, who was scared of what was happening to her. And when you're scared, what? There was no evil. There was no evil intended, no malice. Because you live here. When you live in a place and you love it like you do, you don't want nothing bad to happen. What? Because it'll never happen again. It's an isolated incident. It's a one-shot deal.
Objection, Your Honor.
What?
He's leading the witness.
Yeah.
And there literally was a moment today where Alito's like, well, what you really meant to say was this, right? And you're like, oh my God.
Because we're below Alina Habba level now. Like, we're no longer even, I think we were at single A. We're now in the independent league. I don't know where the hell we are. I mean, I'm soon their lawyers will be a couple kids they find at a local kindergarten. They'll give them crayons and they'll scribble on the floor what they think Trump's argument should be. He won't pay them either, by the way, just like the rest of his lawyers.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, again, this is the Supreme Court. Everybody forgets this. And they want, they sit here and rightfully, Trump has opened a Pandora's box. He's brought out the worst in everybody. You, of course, said it best. We put that on my YouTube channel. You played it here in your 40-minute rant on what Trump has done. And he's brought together the collection of the worst people so that you have to be terrible when you run as a Republican to be elected. Well, you know what? You have to be terrible when you're a Republican judge for them to keep you there. Otherwise, they'll find a way to kick you off. I mean, remember when they started an impeach David Souter movement, a guy that was a Republican put on by George H.W. Bush? They're crazy.
I can't believe he did that! This guy is so in!